Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing great today. Welcome back to the Digital Scrapbooking in Affinity Photo for iPad class. In this lesson, this is lesson 7, and today we're going to continue right where we left off with our first scrapbook page. Here's where we were last time. I wanted to give 2 quick notes. First of all, if you stumbled across this video, this is part of a full step-by-step series here on the GingerScraps YouTube channel. There's a complete playlist that covers everything that you need to know, from downloading your supplies, setting up your iPad, adjusting your settings, and more. So be sure to check out that full playlist. And one other thing is that from lesson 5 to 6, I updated my iPad ISO. So my screen and workflow are going to look a little bit different than in lesson 5 where we began this page. If you haven't already, I recommend watching lesson 6. I walk you through the differences between ISO 18 and ISO 26 to show you how to set up the workspace for both. So no matter if you're on ISO 18, the older ISO, or ISO 26, the most recent one, as of April 2026, you can easily scrap with Affinity on either ISO on your iPad. So let's get started. Okay, as we were before, here is our layers panel over here. And we have the group created right here that we did in our first lesson. And we did our background papers and we played around with this inked edge a little bit. So there's 2 ways of undoing and redoing actions. You can click on your screen with 2 fingers like this. See those blue dots? That's just showing that I'm undoing something. And you can see that this there's a dialog that pops up right up here when you undo. So undo, you can see that it just undid what my previous action. If you want to go back and redo that, you can click over here to do redo, redo, or you can go into your history, which is this little clock right here, and then scroll up or down to anywhere in your process to go back or forward to that action. So now, first let's get up here where I want to go, and I'm going to start adding things to my clusters. And again, I'm just using those little clusters as placeholders. So we'll go over here and we'll look and see, what do we think would be cute for this page? I think this is cute, so I'm just going to drag and drop it in. I like this flower. I like this flower. I always need some greenery. I think these little guys would be cute down here together. I love this rainbow. I don't know where I'm going to use it, but I like it. I'll probably use some of these hearts. Now, sometimes I'll just drag one thing at a time, and then sometimes I'll, go kind of crazy pulling a bunch of stuff in. I know I'm going to want some buttons. It kind of just depends on how busy my page is and if I'm going to be able to see all this stuff as I work through it. I'm going to push that over. You remember, I'm not going to cover this too much because it's in lesson 6 thoroughly, but this is just very easy to pull open and closed. Now, I have all these new things that I just pulled in, all right here. You can see the file name, April Lisa Panda Dreams, are the items I just pulled in. So if you want to rotate an item, you see how the bounding box is on there? You'll take this little toggle, the little handle, and just move it like this. If you want to resize things, you pull down in the corner. And you can also use this down here, the Transform Studio. You can always click on that and resize things here using the dimensions. I use this all the time. So you'll want to lock this in the middle if you want to constrain the proportions, meaning you don't want it to get, you want it to size down or up exactly the same. You can click on the actual number to enter in a number, or you can put your, you can put your finger or your Apple Pencil. I have my Apple Pencil, and you can just slide this up or down and it will shrink and grow. And then if I want to undo it, 2 fingers to undo. I'm going to resize these 2 little pandas. And I want to do it together because I want them to both generally be the same size. So I'll have the one layer selected and then slide over. So you see how they're both selected now? Now, just keep this in mind. This will not constrain the proportions. So when I do this, I could make them look real funky. See that? When you have 2 layers selected, 2 or more, it will not keep the proportions constrained. So just keep that in mind. But what you can do is go over to the Transform Studio with both of them selected, and you can make sure that you're locked right here. Make sure the lock is on, and you can size them this way, and they'll both size together and constrain the proportions. For some reason, I've said that so many times, and I feel like I'm saying it incorrectly. So I hope I'm saying that right. Has that ever happened to you? Where you like just say the word over and over again, and then you're like, am I even saying the word right? That happens to me all the time. So I don't know where I'm going to put these little guys yet for sure. I don't want them in front of the word friends, but I'm just going to put them here for now, and then we'll figure it out later. So what you can do with the template is basically you see this yellow flower right there. It's in this group that we made in lesson 1. I want this pink flower to go where that yellow flower is. White flower, excuse me. So you can just pull it right on top of it and kind of get it generally the same size. And then once you have it how you want it, you can put it, if you want to, this is optional, but you can put it right on top of, don't clip it onto it. You don't want to clip it onto it because that will do that. Do you see how it just clipped it onto that placeholder? So don't do that. Just put it like right above the flower, and then you can just hide that white one that we're not using anymore. And then you can go get this little orange flower, for example, and shrink it down to the size of, I'm going to zoom in. You can shrink it down to the size of this dark pink one that that's what we're going to put there. And then I'm going to drag it down, put it on top of it, and then hide the one that we just used as a placeholder. And then, whoops. And let's see, I think I'll use this little pink button. Maybe the blue button, just for a variety of color. I'm going to shrink it down and make it about the same size as this little flower. And put that down in this group. Right there, and then hide that flower. And now we have this yellow flower. I've mentioned this before, I am not a very fast scrapper, and I'm okay with that because I scrap for the pleasure of scrapbooking, and it is actually, it's actually really soothing for my anxiety. Like today, for example, I was for some reason having a lot of anxiety today, and I was just like, feeling so much anxiety. And I got out my iPad and I just put on an audiobook and I scrapbooked. It really helps my anxiety. Maybe you'll find that to be true too. It's just such a relaxing hobby. I'm just continuing the process of building up these little clusters. And the real magic is going to happen when we apply layer styles or FX. So I want to have 2 of these leaves right here. And what you do is go up to this 3 dots in your top bar and click duplicate. And now that duplicated this leaf exactly. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. this one a little bit smaller. And you can also go to the alignment studio, transform studio, excuse me. Whoops. And you can flip and rotate your items. So if I wanted it to be, it just depends on how I want the leaves to face. I use flip and rotate pretty often because I don't want to just have the same flower looking the same way over and over again, or the same leaf. It gives it some variety. We have a cute little tag right here. Should we put some paper on that tag? Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you. In the previous ISO 18, you would click on something to get a bigger view. Now it pulls it up like that. That's what happens when you click on it. Don't love that. So what you can do instead is hold down on it a little bit and say quick view. And then you can scroll through like previous. At first I was like, no, that is terrible, but I figured it out pretty quick. And then when you want to go out of quick view, you can just click the X up there, or you can just like kind of swipe down on your page. I want to use one of these papers to put on for this tag. Maybe I'll try this one and see how that looks, but I probably will want it way smaller. So I'm going to hold it and bring it down and clip it to that tag. And then I need to have the paper itself selected and zoom out so you can get the bounding box to show up for that, to make this way smaller. So I have this little pink scallop, and I want that to match. What color would look nice there? Maybe this one. And you hold it and drop it when it turns blue. That's cute. I'm probably going to just pause for a little while and keep building this because I don't know. Is that boring? What do you guys think? Why don't you leave me a comment and let me know if you want to see me scrap the entire thing, even though I'm slow? But do you see how this little, this tag has a little hole right in the center? Definitely need something for that hole. Can't just have a unfastened hole. Anyways, I could mess with that for a while. All right, I'm going to apply the shadow to this real quick. So what I'm going to do first is delete all of these placeholders that I'm not going to use. So I have them all selected, and then I'll click the garbage can right here to delete them. So now I have this group right here. Okay, so now we're going to talk about applying a shadow. So I have my group, and I'm going to highlight each of the layers in my group because I want them to all have the same shadow. So now they're all highlighted like that. And I'll go into my FX panel, and I have a bunch of I already have a bunch of styles saved, but you might not since you're just starting out. And you'll turn on the outer shadow, and that will bring, right here I turn that on, and that will bring up all of these different dialogues of things you can modify. When you see a little white dot, that means there's two options on that particular menu. So this one has radius, and if you click on it, angle. This one has opacity and intensity, and this one is the offset. So you'll want to build up your shadow to be exactly how you want it. So I usually like 15. Oops. That doesn't matter. I'll just do 16. I'm just showing you for the example. You click on the number, and you can do the same thing by sliding it up or just putting in exactly what you want. Oops. I'm having trouble because I'm trying to use my mouse so you can see it. My finger or my pencil is so much easier. And it has a 45-degree angle. And it has 16 offset, 16 radius, opacity, 50%. And it's pretty good. I like that. Now, if you have something that you like and you think, you mess with it over and over again until your shadow is perfect and you love it and you think, this is the shadow I want. You can highlight, you can want to save it for future reference. Highlight the layer that you like the shadow of. Go to your FX panel. Go right down here where it says Styles. Click on that. And then these 3 lines right here, add style from selection. Click on that. And it just added it down here, style 14. And then you can hover on it like a long click and rename it to anything you want. So now it's saved, but I already have some that I have different shadows I've worked with. So that is what that little cluster looks like now. So I'm going to go ahead and work on building the cluster up in the upper left-hand corner, and I'll come back once I've got this page decorated a little bit more. Welcome back. I worked on my little clusters and you can see where I'm at now. I decided to put a little bow on that one for this tag. I thought that looked cute. And I put some purple paper over these arrows. I put some paper over the scallops. I made this little cluster over here, the hearts, put these cute little guys down here. I wanted to show you one quick thing real quick while I was, working on this little guy because it's something that I didn't show you earlier. So when I have, for example, if I wanted to take this same shadow and I hadn't saved it yet, but I wanted to apply it to another layer, you can have that layer highlighted and you can see over here I have the style applied. And then you can go up here and you can say copy. And then you can go to the next layer, select it. See, it has no shadow or FX on it yet. And then you can go right there and you can say paste FX. And then it will paste the same exact shadow effects onto that one. And if I want to have these 2 little guys aligned at the bottoms, they look like they already are, but how you do it is you have them highlighted. Click on the Transform Studio. Click on Alignment Options right here. And then you can align them by the middle, the bottom, which is what I'm going to do. You can do the same thing for horizontally. They aren't exactly the same height. And if I want them to be the exact same height, so you can see how the bounding box is a little bit different right there. Let's say I both want them to be this height. So I can go into my Transform Studio again. And I can look at this right here. The dimension, the height of it is 431.6. So now they are the exact same height. You can go back over here, highlight those layers, and alignment options. And now they are the exact same height. I can move them around too with this positions right here. So I use this all the time too. If I want to just move something without dragging it, because you can obviously do this. But say you get something aligned perfectly at the bottom how you want it, then you can just move them like this. So all of these little tools I love. I like them even more than Photoshop because you can dial stuff in so easily. So like for example, I want to move this little panda over a little bit. So I can just move it and I know they'll stay perfectly aligned and I can move it over. Now if I want to group these, I can group them. So now I can, if I move them at all, they'll be moving together. And if I want to move them separately, I'll expand it and then click on each individual one. You can also lock layers. So, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So each of the little layers have a lock. They're kind of hard to see, but you can lock that layer. So now this one, it can't be moved. It just selected the paper behind it because it's locked. So if you get something in a perfect spot and you do not want those to move, like that is where I want them and I don't want to accidentally move them, I can go to the group too and lock the whole group. And now if I try to move them, it's going to just select the paper behind it. See that? They won't move. I'm going to do some text real quick to put up on this tag. So here's my group. I like to group things. It just helps me stay organized. So you'll notice that now each of my little clusters have their own group. Now I'm going to put the date on the label. So for that, I have that highlighted, the label I want to use. Okay, so now I want to put the date on this little label right here. So I'll go down here to the text tool. And if you long press on it, it will bring up these two options, frame text or artistic text. I'm going to go with frame text. So with that one, you'll put your pencil down or your finger and you'll pull and drag to generally the shape that you want your text to be in. And then I'll type it out. And now I want to mess with the font. So I'll have that highlighted. I can change the font by changing it right here and choosing a font. Or I can go over to the text area over here on the right-hand side, click on that and choose a font this way. And it also has a lot of different options. Bold, italic, underline, strike through, the font size, justification, indenting, all the different kinds of leading that's helpful when you have like a paragraph and you want less or more in between the lines of text. All of these things are super handy. So let's pick a text. I usually like Courier Prime, and I'm going to get the size where I want it. Okay, did you see how I went up 1 point on my size a little more than would be fitting in that box? And now it has a red eye right there. That means that my text is not fitting in the box how I want it to. So what I can either do is shrink the size of that text real quick until it fits in the box, or I can increase the size of the box by putting my Apple Pencil on the box and then pulling out until it's in there. And I'm not really loving this. I think I might take out the 20. It doesn't really, I don't need to specifically know it was the 20th. July 2023 is good enough. Because then I can have it bigger. So, and now I want to get this bounding box pretty much as close as I can to the text itself. If the bounding box for this text is way too big, when I want to center it, it will do it based on the text box size. I hope that makes sense. So now I'll highlight those two layers, go to alignment options, and I'll get that centered. And then I will move this whole group. I think that's good. Sometimes I'll go over to the view tool right there when I want to just look at everything and make sure I'm not going to accidentally touch anything to move it. So far I'm really liking the way this looks. It's looking so cute. I need to change the word. I need to put papers that I want in friends down here. So I'm going to pause this again and I'll come back in a moment when I have something else to show you. Hi, I just wanted to pop in real quick with a quick tip. While you're creating your layout, it's a good idea to have a note open in your Notes app that lists all the credits for your page. So this is generally what I take notes on. It will have the layout name, the created on, photos taken on date, journaling if I have any, the listed products with the links to the products so that I can refer them to people or I can grab them again if I need to, and the font that I used. So not a requirement, but it is very helpful information that you'll be happy that you have. And it's a great habit to get into. So I just wanted to pop in with that quick little tip for you. Okay, back to the video. Okay, we did it. And it is way past my bedtime, but I just wanted to get this page finished. So it is done. I'm pretty happy with it. I know that if I want to come back, it will be saved in the layer so I can come back and tweak it at any point. But the last thing we need to do is save it. So I wanted to point out one thing real quick. Do you see how the elements are all named with the name of the designer and the kit name as the files were named on your iPad? To retain that, you need to save it as a TIFF file or a TIFF. If you save it at PSD, it will keep the layered file, but all of these layers will change to the name pixel file. I'm not really sure why it does that, but I don't like that because if I ever want to come back, I need to have the name of the items I used on my page. So if I ever want to find them again, if anyone ever asks me, what was that? What is that exact name of that item? I can come and find out by opening up the layered file. So we're going to go to Document, Export. So you can save it as a PSD right there. You want to change it to Preserve Editability if you use a PSD so that you can change things like your shadowing. Otherwise, the shadows will not be able to be changed. But I don't prefer that. I prefer the TIFF file. It will leave everything intact exactly as you see it with the elements named as they are, and you can go back and modify all the styles or effects if you want to. You can modify the text, etc. This is crucial. Make sure you toggle that on. If you don't have that on, when you save it, it will not be a layered file. So that shows you the file size right there, and then you can click OK. And then you'll just save it wherever. I'm going to save it as Affinity class. I like the way it saves as a TIFF file the most. So now it's saved. If I want to close this and I open it back up, it will have everything intact and I can edit it any way I would like. So there we go. We've covered it. We finished our page. There's still a lot of different things I want to teach you. I want to go into the FX panel more. I want to go into the text studio more and show you how to add new fonts. There's other techniques, so many other things I can teach you. I really want to show you how to do a QR code. That's super fun. But this will at least get you started, be able to create a page from start to finish. And I hope this was helpful. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow along with the whole series. I'll keep adding videos to this playlist. If you make your own page, I would love to see what you make. So come on over to the GingerScraps forum and register, upload your page to the gallery. You can tag me. I'm GingerScraps there, so just do @GingerScraps. When you post your page, you can leave a comment on your own page and tag me @GingerScraps and I'll see it. Or you can DM me, sending me a private message, direct message @GingerScraps. I would love to see your pages.